Oh yeah, yeah.
audience.
At one point, I was standing there doing Santa, and I had 4 littlies of about 3 to 5 clinging to my legs, gazing up at me. I love it.
Oh,
For the
how,
past 6 years,
oh, how adorable! Did
for
you
the
get
past,
photos?
for
I
the
want to see some photos. Oh man.
oh, oh,
Hey,
there's a photo of me dressed as Drosselmeyer standing in the pulpit. I look like Bach. Um, holding forth in Leipzig, but
hey, everybody, welcome. I'm starting to record this and live stream it because we might as well do what we are going to do. Hi, I'm Paul Sugarman with the Instant Shakespeare Company. This is our Solstice celebration, celebrating our 25th season. Unfortunately, the plan was for this to be a hybrid event with our event at the Yorkville Library also on Zoom, but so there's nobody at Yorkville to live stream it, and the library seemed to have forgotten that they told us.
And it snowed and everything.
So all of that. So what we do here is we're just here to sort of celebrate Instant Shakespeare and share some Shakespeare. So I just wanted to start this off since since I've got since I've got to get back to delivering the mail in a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
everybody needs their Christmas cards and their packages and their holiday cards.
Yes, lots of those, and a lot of advertisements as well that we're not as excited about. But anyways, I just wanted to say, I'm so grateful to all of you who are here. Angus, who's been with Instant Shakespeare since the very beginning. From the very first readings, he was actually literally the first actor I called when we started casting the first season of Instant Shakespeare. And so that's really great. And in Virginia, who I've known for even before I did Instant Shakespeare, and is
when we were teenagers. Andrew Lincoln Arts Academy in NYU.
Yep. And
what was it? Was it Richard II we did, Geraldine?
Richard II we did, yes.
That was the first one. Wow.
Yeah, I think that
was a drama bookshop, right? No.
Well, that was with Shakespeare that they played in New York.
We did it with York.
We were on New York.
Carolyn, you were in the... Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
With Seth Dewar.
With Seth, yes.
I think that might have been my first appearance in Manhattan.
Wow.
That was my first Shakespeare. You were my first Shakespeare husband, Angus.
There you go.
You know who not here? Morna in LA. We should have got Morna in. Yeah. Well, 3 hours earlier. But
I'm going to have to, my system's being difficult, so I'm going to opt out and come back in again.
Okay.
Oh,
what was I thinking? I should have emailed Morna.
So Morna,
she had surgery, but she must be better by now, I would think.
Wow. I was wondering what happened with Morna, because I hadn't heard.
Well, she moved out to Hollywood like at least 10 years ago. And she's trying to do Shakespeare out there, a la Instant Shakespeare, but it's not easy, but oh man, I should have gotten in touch with her.
Yeah, well, I did. I sent out an email to the list, and she's on the list. So, that's one of the things, with 25 years, I'm still not doing a great job of getting the word out. So that's what we're going to try and do better.
You really are doing an amazing job.
You are.
I dispute that.
Okay. Well, anyways, I do want to just share some Shakespeare. One of my favorite speeches is the prologue to Henry V. So I'm going to do that for you now. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. Pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object? Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon. And since a crooked figure may attest in little place 1,000,000, and let us ciphers to this great account on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined 2 mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, jumping over time, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Yay! Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Hi,
Very-
Michael. Love your flowers there.
Hi, I'm thinking about changing
that
the
was
background, but that's all right. Maybe I'll leave that.
Hey, you know what? On the subject of fire, one of the 4 or 5 speeches I do have memorized, and this one's only 15 lines, so I don't think I'll cock it up. This is, can I just do Ariel at the beginning?
Yes, of course.
Please.
Do you mind, everybody? All right, here we go.
No, go
No,
ahead,
please do something
I
good.
boarded the kingship. Now on the beast, now on the beak, now on the waist, the deck, in every cabin, I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places, on the top mast, the yards and bowsprit, when I flame distinctly, then meet and join Jove's lightnings, the precursors of the dreadful thunderbolts, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and crack of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege, and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
Wow.
And then
Very nice.
Crossbury goes, oh, that's great. Yeah, cool. I got more work for you though. And yeah.
Very nice.
All
Michael, do you have something?
I'm not ready yet. Have some fun. Do some more stuff. I'll listen while I get ready. I'm just not ready yet.
All right.
Daniela, do you have anything?
I do. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to set my phone on like a little tripod thingy that I
Good.
forgot I had. So give me okay.
Jackie's on now too.
Hey, Jackie, hi. Wait, everybody. Oh, Jackie, you just missed it. I did Ariel memorize. Oh,
Oh,
shit.
I'm
what happened?
sorry, but I had errands to do, and because of the snow, couldn't go out till late.
All right, no problem. Oh, I was trying to turn my camera here. I don't think it's going to happen. I have every play there is in many copies in my little office here, right behind me, except it's on that wall. And I have all these. My mom gave me the Tudor Shakespeare. They're all leather bound. I have all the plays. But the ones I read a lot as a teenager all the time are falling apart. The bindings all.
I have all the plays too.
I mean,
Wow,
look
that's
at these.
beautiful.
Aren't these just
They're beautiful.
special as heck? And I was a Shakespeare freak starting like age 13 because they showed us Julius Caesar with Marlon Brando right when my hormones were starting to kick in. So
Wait,
so I could do any speech. We could go all day, but it's not all about me. Who else wants to do stuff?
Does anybody else?
Some more, Virginia.
Really?
Warm up the audience for.
Carolyn wants to do Puck. That's going to be really
All
fun.
right,
not
far out.
Puck. I don't want to do Puck.
I thought, are we not doing?
Paulina, but I want to do Paulina in a few minutes.
Are we not doing the library too, or are we all just on Zoom?
Well,
Right.
yeah, because the library apparently did not even realize we were supposed to be there today.
Well, it's lousy weather out anyway.
It's terrible weather. The transportation, the crowds, the snow. My total lack of techno skills. I didn't even wind up going, but I did leave a message with Ken Wayne and texted him, and also Caitlin, so Ken at least knows. Poor Ken. He's schlepping all the way on the subway.
Oh, no, no, no.
Poor
That's
Ken. And he's
terrible.
gonna get there and there's nothing.
Where's Paul?
Oh, well, Paul was here, but then he has to deliver mail.
Why
So in
didn't
other words,
Ken,
Paul wasn't even going to be at the library. Oh, God.
Exactly.
why didn't Ken get the message that it's going to be Zoom? Zoom.
Well, I
Well-
texted Ken and I left him a phone message.
Oh, hopefully he's coming back home before he went all the way out there, because that's a schlep.
He's there and they're in the room. He said there are people. I'm not sure exactly who is there, but I'm trying to get somebody there to connect via Zoom so that we could see what they're doing there. But
Well, that would be great, like LA to New York, Hollywood to New York.
yeah, but until
And
then,
Angus is here. Angus, well, he's gonna come back into the Zoom. He had issues. He's
'cause
here from London.
So Daniela, are you ready? Do you want to go now?
Sure. So pardon me for my crappy setup. I wasn't exactly like super prepared for it, but whatever. I'm holding it with my hands, so my performance won't be like as interactive, but I think it'll do. And also, before I forget, I did want to share, I also have like a very, whoops. Oh, Caitlin's calling me.
Oh,
Give me 1 second.
okay.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. Give me 1 second.
It's okay, Paul. I have a question. Are we on YouTube too? Because I'm going to go in the other room and watch YouTube for a second. Are we on?
Yeah, he got us on YouTube a few minutes ago.
Okay.
He did the Henry V prologue. It was really great just now. Jackie, you still there?
No, I'm not here. Over there. Oh, I went to get a drink of water.
Alrighty, you're allowed.
Oh, wow.
I wonder who is at the library, because Ken is a long trip for him, so
No, Ken's there.
I'm sure he is there because he was already.
Yeah.
Where did Ken come from?
They let them in. So, but
Where does Ken live?
Brooklyn.
Long. I have a
I don't know about
toe
Mark. I don't know about Mark Daring. I don't know.
fractured or
Would have done it, Mark.
I have a toe that might, it's either fractured or broken. I'm going later or to,
really?
so it's one of those Medicares that are on the street,
Oh,
you know, you just
Jackie.
walk in.
Did you get to go to the doctor yet at all?
I've been putting it off, but they're down the block. So I think after this, I'm going to go over. They're open till 5. So I'll walk
Okay,
in
yeah.
there. I have insurance, you know.
Poor lady.
and we'll
Ouch.
see
ouch,
what
ouch.
I know it hurts. It's quite a while and I've been putting it off wearing big shoes, but now I see some of my things I can't even get my foot in.
Oh my God.
Good
how
idea, you know, it could be for life, so I better check it out.
awful. Oh. That's all
Hi.
you need, you know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Who are you?
Okay,
I don't know you.
amazing.
Who is
Sorry.
this? What?
Wait.
I got to do something about all the ice on my front stoop and my steps. Yikes.
You got a nice haircut.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Mm.
Why is this so low?
Wait.
Sorry.
You're Daniela. Okay, now I know who you are. All right. Well, who's going to do something? Are we just waiting for somebody to say, okay, I can't stand this anymore. Let's do something.
Aren't you guys gonna do Mary
Yeah, but
Ward?
I thought that Michael was going to do something with Virginia.
Yeah, we're going to do something. Yeah.
Go
What time
ahead
is
and
it?
I'll wait so I can relax because I just ran in here.
All right. Well, Geraldine wants to do
Paulina. No,
and
I'm not
Michael
doing,
and I are going to do the nunneries.
I'm not doing Puck, I'm doing Paulina.
Oh, Wintersdale. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Are you going? So I'm so sorry, but I'm just gonna do my monologue and then I'm gonna get off the Zoom
Okay.
and try to read with Caitlin and everybody else at the library. Like I'm not gonna go to the library, but I'm gonna try to call in.
Okay.
Okay,
cool.
sure.
So yeah,
Hey, Daniela,
All right,
go
thank you. I'm so
excellent.
sorry.
We are all ears for Daniela.
Okay, cool. All right. My Mistress with a monster is in love. Ha ha! Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals, that worked for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallowest thick-skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered in a break, when I did him at this advantage take, and asses now I fix it on his head. Anon his this must be answered, and forth my mimic comes, when they him spy, as the creeping fowler eye or russet pated coughs, many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his side away his fellows fly. And at our stampier over and over one falls, he murder cries and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears, the strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns that their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When in that moment so it came to pass, did Daniel weep, and straightway loved
Good.
That was fantastic.
Very nice. Very nice.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Was that all
fun.
memorized?
Yeah.
That
I've
was
been working on this.
terrific.
What
This
was
is the
that? What
first
was that from? I
monologue.
forgot. What is it from?
It's
Midsummer,
Midsummer Night's.
Jackie.
It's what?
This
It's what?
was
That was Puck. Oh man, that was great, Daniela.
so. This was the first
right.
monologue.
No,
I was.
that's familiar.
You were
This
working on that with a teacher, you said?
Well, sort of like this was just the first monologue I was ever assigned to memorize for class.
Oh, all right.
I started class like 2 years ago, and I wasn't able to go that often, but I was always working on my monologue. I had always something to work on. So I just memorized it, and I tried to, like, if I remember it, I'll try to recite it.
Yeah.
So I haven't been working with the teacher, but every time I can, I do perform it. I take notes, and yeah. So anyway, yeah, thank you so much.
And it just keeps growing.
Thank you
Well,
for doing that.
where did you take class? With whom?
With Thomas G. Waits. Caitlin also took class with him.
He's
So
an
that's
old
how I
friend
know
of
Caitlin.
ours. I know Thomas.
I thought that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And before I go, I just wanted to share my grandfather. He passed on his personal library to me when he passed. So
Wow.
I have a bunch of his books back home in the Dominican Republic, including the entire Shakespeare collection. He was
Wow.
a
Wow.
huge Shakespeare fan. And he did send me this tiny little sonnet book. It's Shakespeare
Oh,
sonnets,
that's
and it has
lovely.
it a dedication here. Like, I don't know, it's really special to me, and I just wanted to share it with you. Like, it's just
Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's
yeah.
That's
So this is
so
like,
nice.
thank you so much for letting me participate in this. I've had so much fun. And I'm happy to be a part of this final reading on Zoom. But thank you guys so
we
much.
got
It's
so
been
much
so
more to
fun.
come in next year, 2025.
Yes, I'll be there for it. Whether it's on the library or on Zoom, I'll be there.
Oh, that was well. All blessings to you, and
Thank
happy
you so
Solstice,
much.
Daniela. Happy holidays.
Happy
Thank you. Happy
holidays.
holidays and blessings to all of you. Have a
Thank
safe, uneventful holiday season.
Good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody, look at the fantastic GIF my dear friend Tara sent me. Oh, you can't see. Happy solstice with the bonfire.
I
Nice.
saw you.
She's very, very disciplined with yoga and nature. And isn't that great? From now on, the days are going to start getting longer this year. Light in the darkness. So
Good.
that's wonderful.
Why
Yeah, you
don't you guys do your Merry Wives?
Yes. Okay. Can I just say one thing? Speaking of, yeah, good idea. Speaking of grandfathers, my mother's father out in Minnesota, and they are a very, very stoic lot. Yeah, they gotta be. But I remember being a little girl. I mean, he was too busy working. He didn't have a huge knowledge of Shakespeare. But actually, I mean, my grandmother, my his wife, my mother's mother that I was named after, she could recite screeds of Victorian poetry till the day she died because they would have to do that in school, you know, these tiny little classes of kids, young adults in Minnesota back in the day. But he used to always be fond of telling me, my grandfather, he would go, her voice was ever soft and low, an excellent thing in woman, you know, and that's Cordelia in King Lear. And I always had that drummed into me that that was the feminine ideal, you know, that really stuck with my grandfather from his English learning days in high school. All right, Jackie, you want to do Mistress Ford and Mistress Page?
Yeah, sure. What the hell?
Okay, so let's see. It's Act 2, scene 1.
Oh, it's page 26, Act 2,
26.
Scene 1
All
in
right,
the blue
excellent.
book.
And Jackie's gonna be Mistress Page. She's gonna start with the monologue that she has.
Okay.
And then
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah,
Let me-
anytime.
Okay.
You're gonna do the monologue first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, have I escaped love letters in the holiday time of my beauty, and I'm now a subject? Let me see. Ask me no reason why I love you. For though love you is reason for his precision, he admits him not for his counselor. You are not young. Oh, no more am I. Go to, then there's sympathy. You're merry, so am I. Ah, then there's more sympathy. You love sack, and so do I. Would you desire better sympathy? Let it suffice thee, Mistress Page, at the least, if the love of soldier can suffice, that I love thee. I will not say pity me, 'tis not a soldier-like phrase, but I say love me by me, thy own true knight, by day or night. Oh my God, or any kind of like, with all his might for thee to fight John False. Oh, what a harad of Jewry is this? Oh, wicked, wicked world. One who is well nigh worn to pieces with age to call himself a young gallant. What an unweighed behavior has this Flemish drunken picked with the devil's name out of my conversation that he dare in this manner assay me. Why, has not been thrice in my company. What should I say to him? I was then frugal of my mirth. Oh, heaven forgive me. I will give a bill in the parliament for the putting down of men. How shall I be revenged on him? Revenged I shall be, as sure as his guts are made of puddings.
Mrs. Page, trust me. I was going to your house.
And trust me, I was coming to you. You look very ill.
Nay, I'll ne'er believe that. I have to show to the contrary.
Oh, wait a second. Wait. Faith, but you do in my mind.
Well, I do then. Yet I say I could show you to the contrary. Oh, Mistress Page, give me some counsel.
What's the matter, woman?
Oh, woman, if it were not for one trifling respect, I could come to such honor.
Hang the trifle, woman, take the honor. What is it? Dispense with trifles. What is it?
If I could but go to hell for an eternal moment or so, I could be knighted.
Oh, what thou liest. Sir Alice Ford, these knights will hack, and so thou shouldst not alter the article of thy gentry.
We burn daylight. Here. Read. Perceive how I might be knighted. I shall think the worst of fat men as long as I have an eye to make difference of men's liking. And yet he would not swear, praise women's modesty, and give such orderly and well-behaved reproof to all uncomeliness that I would have sworn his disposition would have gone to the truth of his words. But they do no more adhere and keep place together than 100 psalms to the tune of Greensleeves. What tempests I trow through this whale, with so many tons of oil in his belly, ashore at Windsor. How shall I be revenged on him? I think the best way were to entertain him with hope, till the wicked fire of lust have melted him in his own grease. Did you ever hear the like?
Letter for letter, but that the name of Porge, page and forward differ. Oh, to thy great comfort in this mystery of ill opinions, here's a twin brother of thy letter. But let thine inherit first, for I protest mine never shall. I warrant here's 1,000 of these letters, writ with blank space for different names, sure more. And these are the second edition. He will print them out, no doubt, for he cares not what he puts into the press when he would put us to a giantess and lie under Mount Pelion. Well, find you 20 lascivious turtles there, one chaste man.
Why, this is the very same, the very handwriting, the very hand, the very words. What doth he think of us?
Oh, nay, I know not. It makes me almost riddled to wrangle with mine own honesty. I'll entertain myself like one I am not acquainted with, for sure, unless he knows some strain in me that I know not in myself, he would never have boarded me in this fury.
Boarding, call you it? I'll be sure to keep him above deck.
Oh, so will I. If he come under my hatches, I'll never to see again. Let's be revenged on him. Let's appoint him a meeting, give him a show of comfort in his suit, and lead him on with a fine baited delay, till he hath pawned his horses to mine host of the Garter.
Nay, I will consent to act any villainy against him that may not sully the chariness of our honesty. Oh, that my husband saw this letter will give eternal fire to his jealousy.
Oh, well, look where he comes, and my good man too. He's so far from jealousy as I am from giving him cause, and that I hope is an unmeasurable distance.
You are the happier woman.
Let's consult together against this greasy night. Come hither. All right, that's it.
Nice.
All right, that and scene.
Very nice. Good.
Great, thank you guys. That was a lot of fun. Yeah,
That was the only play he wrote, right? That was forced on him by commission from the Queen, basically, right?
Falstaff in Love. She wanted to see Falstaff in Love.
Exactly, but you can tell he had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And he made some good books from it, I'm sure, which is always at point with him. You got to respect Shakespeare for that.
I know by the time they hit the Restoration period, towards the end of the 17th century,
it was
playwrights only got, in terms of financial remuneration, the box from the third performance. So that when the recruiting officer, what's his name, wrote that.
George Farquhar?
Oh, George Farquhar. He actually died before he got the third performance box office.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, he
timing.
Yeah. I was, I hate to do a downer on this, but I was talking to Paul a little while ago, and why is Shakespeare still important today? Why does he work? I know Harold Bloom says Shakespeare in his book was the inventor of the human, and in a way that's right, but he understands the way society works, and the ones I always look at, because I'm getting old now, I can hear the footsteps of the Reaper of Souls getting ever closer, And I was looking at King John, which was written not very long after Hamlet had died. And I think it contains two of the most relevant and most poignant reflections on loss and grief
Yes.
that show that whole thing. The first one, obviously written very shortly after the pain of Hamlet's death had impinged on him when he didn't make it back to Stratford in time to see him. And that's Constance's speech. He's giving it to somebody else, but he's trying to justify where grief goes. And the speech goes, grief fills the room up of my absent child, lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. There have I reason to be fond of grief. Fare you well. Had you had such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do. I will not keep this form upon my head, where there is such disorder in my wit. O Lord, my boy, my Arthur, my fair son, my life, my joy, my food, my all the world, my widow comfort, and my sorrow's cure. And that takes you through the first year and a half of grief, of loss.
It's a good reading, Angus.
Beautiful reading,
Beautiful,
Angus.
That was a great reading.
And then you get the later one. Prince, what's his name, says after King John has died, and Shakespeare's now got beyond that initial grief, and does the I am the signet to this pale faint swan who chants a doleful hymn to his own death, and from the organ pipe of frailty sings this soul and body to their lasting rest. And he exemplifies in 17th century, how human beings react, and we don't change. My dad died about 4 days before the millennium, and for a year and a half something would happen and I would say, oh, I must tell Dad about that, he would really enjoy that. And then I have to realize, sorry guys, he's not around there anymore. And it's that simple awareness of how we react to people around us, and that's what makes him relevant today, because society's changed. The pressures on society, in many ways, they're the same, but they're also different because the way society structure is different. But how people react to society and how they deal with the pressures of society are always the same. And that's why he's still relevant today. The Midsummer Night's Dream quote, I always think that there's so much missing in productions of Midsummer Night's Dream, because a recurring theme throughout Midsummer Night's Dream is, this is not how you treat women. All the males in that play treat them as chattels, treat them as possessions that they can do what they like with. And you go through, and everybody concentrates, for the comic scenes at the end with the rude mechanicals. But if you look at what's happening in that, when they actually present it, you've got Theseus and Hippolyta. Although she was a queen in her own right and a war leader, he treats her as a possession. The other men have said how much they love them, but they're still treating the women as a possession.
Except that Titania.
And then you get the Pyramus and Thisbe story, that Thisbe has died, and Pyramus's reaction was, I will die so that I can be with her. And you're left with those three couples, and they're saying, oh, shit, is that what it really means?
But there's an element of
you're really right, Angus. Wow.
What about Titania's relationship with Bottom, though?
That's comic. That's
remember
manipulated.
But Amelia speaks to Desdemona, even though Amelia has
just about every Shakespeare play, I think you could say that.
I'd say Othello.
Like Timon of Athens. The only females in Timon of Athens are just a couple tiny little courtesans, and so they're all miserable. Therefore, and Troilus and Cressida. It's all this male character horror.
The thing about Titania is that she's very strong.
Yeah.
Because I have to bring in another element. I agree with everything that you said, Angus, but Shakespeare also, please accept, I ask that for your acceptance of this when I say this, is that Shakespeare wrote for the will, and the will is the part of God, of the self, that he knew were the emotions, and he knew these emotions were tied to the yin part of God, the female part of God that had been denied for thousands of years. I'm sorry, I had new dentures and I'm having difficulty talking.
Oh, wow.
So that when Shakespeare wrote Midsummer Night's Dream, he starts off with the abduction of Hippolyta. And then we have the scene between Titania, who rescued an Indian boy that he wants to now abduct, that Oberon wants to abduct. And she says, no, not on your life. And when she finally goes under the spell, she gets to, I don't know if the word is even things out, but show another reflection, because that's what they are anyway. They're spirit reflections of what's going on Earth. That's the whole thing about how everything's dying on the Mother Earth. And Shakespeare wrote that on purpose because he said it's our wars, our brawls that are causing this. We are the cause. They are spirits. Okay? They're fairies, they're spirits, but they represent a part of that will. I am absolutely convinced whoever this person was who wrote these plays knew about this other life.
Yes, the choices that we're making, divorcing ourselves more and more from nature.
He was given an insight, whatever that was. He didn't share it with anybody other than through his work, because they would have thought he was a nut or a devil.
Yeah.
If he started talking about God and spirits, they would have said, this guy off with his head. This guy's possessed.
So here's a boy who's going to be brought up all among women, and he wants him to be brought up with a man.
Look,
to become a man.
Also,
so that's in the end, he does get the boy, and she has some feeding, but there's always some little message that
he does this in all his plays with
everybody, but you start seeing where he'll fight for women and he'll fight for the men. There's, if you look deeply, you'll see he's not really
much more. I'm sorry, guys. I'm much more pragmatic. He was an actor. He was a writer. And more importantly, he was a theatre technician.
He was
only a theatre technician could have written Titus Andronicus.
He was a seer, exactly. Yeah, but
all these things. He was all these things.
Because even with the line that Cassius says, in future times, when men with other languages will be doing the same thing that we are doing. I don't have the line. I'm sorry, I'm not a scholar. But he was a seer. He said that, and he was the same way as the prophets who said, unless you clean up your act, nation against nation will rise against each other. That all the prophecy said, all the prophets didn't have the heart to tell us that if we don't change our ways, it would come to this. And look,
the problem is that he was dealing with a highly political society.
Exactly.
The arch spy of Elizabeth. So he's trying to make his points, but at the same time, he's trying to keep his head on his neck.
Exactly.
Right.
You really just don't go too far. But you look at The Tempest.
Look what happened to Hamlet on Ophelia. Look what happened to poor Ophelia. I mean, her will was totally denied. She killed herself,
Yeah.
Okay, I have one strong woman to bring in.
Who?
Paulina from Winter's Tale.
All right.
Mm-hmm. You gonna do it?
Weird one.
Good timing.
Good timing.
Go ahead.
Good.
What study torment, tyrant hast for me? What? Wheels, racks, fires, what? Flaying, boiling, in leads or oils. What old or newer torture must I receive, whose every word deserves to taste of thy most worst? Thy tyrannies, together working with thy jealousies, fancies too weak for boys, too green and idle for girls of 9, Oh, think what they have done, then run mad indeed, stark mad, for all thy bygone fooleries, what were but spices of it. That thou betrayest Polixenes was nothing, that did but show thee of a fool, inconstant and damnable grateful, nor was much. Thou would have poisoned good Camilo's honor to have him kill a king. Poor trespasses, more monstrous standing by, whereof I reckon the casting forth to crows thy baby daughter to be or none or little, though a devil would have shed water out of fire and done it, nor is directly laid to thee the death of the young prince, whose honorable thoughts high for one so tender, cleft the heart, that could conceive a gross and foolish sigh of blemished his gracious dam. This is not now laid to thine answer, but the last, when I have said, O Lord's cry woe. The queen, the sweetest, dearest creature is dead, and vengeance for it not dropped down yet.
It's very nice. It's good.
Yep.
Telling
Cool.
truth to power.
Thank you, John. That was great.
I have two little kitty cats, so it's on my lap, was distracting me a little bit. Two little babies are right on my lap right now. And make it hard to do be or not.
That's all right. You were allowed to be. Anybody
That
who
was
can be
wonderful.
distracted by cats is good in my.
I'm going to be right back. I'll be right back.
Yep.
So grateful
Yeah, that
for
was
these
super.
little girls. They just came into our
Okay.
life. This is serious.
Oh, good.
Can you
So
see?
Hold, hey,
Let's see,
Michael,
they're
hold
cute.
them both up so I can see them.
I don't want to move. They're series. Can you see series?
Yeah.
I don't want to move.
I
She doesn't
see
want to
one.
move.
I see one of them. Which one is this one?
All right, this is series. Now I'm going to turn the camera a little bit and see if we can get a hold of Cookie. Cookie, look this.
Where's the other one? I can't
Cookie's
see.
got a lot of black on her, so she might be hard to see.
Yeah.
Cookie, look this way, hon.
Oh, I see. There she is. We see her back
Hold
flashing
on.
in.
The other one.
It's because you've got a.
This
It's
is
because you've
Cookie.
got a
Wait,
green
I
screen
hit-
background on.
And I'm Cookie
The-
right now. I don't think you can.
Zoom-
The plant is blocked.
Zoom is cutting
Okay,
her out
The
because
plant and
she's
my
focusing
hold
on you.
This one's really cute.
You know what it is? This plant picture. Let me choose a different background for a second. You'll see it.
Well, kill the
Hold on, I'll get a
background
lighter
completely,
background.
Michael. Can you?
Here.
Kill your. No, it's still not. You need to
Yes.
kill your background
I see what you're saying.
completely.
Kill the
and give us your
background.
live
Hold on.
view.
Hold on. Kill the background. Go to nothing. Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, go to nothing, and then
How
we'll
do I
see.
go to blank? How do I? All right, I gotta find my one with. Where do you go to blank on this?
I don't know.
Yeah, videos. You click on video, the up button on video,
background?
and
Oh, hold on. Go
kill effects.
Choose virtual background. That's where I'm at. All right, hold on. I think if I go to the top,
say none.
I can't. I don't see that. Where does it say none? Hold on.
Oh, we lost you
No,
completely.
hold on. Where is it? Hold on.
Let's see.
It says video settings. All right, hold on. No.
Don't worry about it, Michael. I'm sorry I bothered you.
It's okay.
I
It's
just like-
okay. You can
they
see the
look
cats
so-
in the
I do
yard.
want you to see her though. Let me just see if I can get a
You
light.
go to video settings and just go to video.
Yeah, you do the three
Original?
dots. Do the three dots, right?
No, that's
Yeah,
not it.
that'll get that.
Depends
should
on
get
your
you.
computer.
Do the three dots?
I'm sad because I would love
And
a
right
cat.
click,
but
use your mouse.
I'm-
Oh, maybe you're not using a mouse.
I'm so
Can't-
old now that.
Why
And it's
can't
one
you
of
have
the
idea of
choices
taking
with
on
the
a
three
pet-
dots. Blur your background, whatever.
Why no cat?
Get rid of it.
I just want you to see her.
I'm
Hold
too
on.
old. The idea of actually having a pet that will outlive me and worrying about what's going to happen to that cat after I
Right.
kick the bucket, it's just not. That's cruel. That's not right.
Yeah.
I hear you. But if you have,
Don't do that.
Mikey, you want to do the nunnery scene?
Somebody else do something meanwhile.
I've
And I'm
actually
going to,
got to run.
I'm just going to do this again and back up. And just,
Oh, look at your wonderful background. You've got the sky and the clouds and the heavens.
want me to leave that one for Hamlet? All right.
That's
Okay,
cool.
do your Hamlet. Then I've got to get off. Angie, I
Okay.
will email you.
Nice to
And it's good to see
Carolyn.
you again, Carolyn.
Daniela. Oh, somebody.
Yes.
Happy days.
Carolyn,
all
you
those
said you have to
years
go?
ago.
Okay,
I
bye.
have to
gone.
go. Bye.
Thank you. That was
Angie,
wonderful.
so good to see you again. I will email you. Bye, everybody. Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Take care.
That was really nice.
Angus, I have friends who are filmmakers who are moving to London, and I'm giving them your
good.
number, and I'll send you their info.
Cool.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye,
I
everybody.
may be in a wheelchair, but you know.
Really?
You'll be the most dramatic and best actor, no matter what. Bye-bye.
Lovely to see you again, Geraldine.
Okay. I'm ready to do it, except that I do want to apologize. My speech is terrible right now, right?
I think it's great.
No, you sound
It's not
fine.
that bad. Don't
You're
worry
so
about it.
perfectionist, which is a good thing, but still.
You're more sensitive than you realize.
Yes, I agree.
It sounds great, Michael. Don't worry about it.
I'm trying to choose something equally cool in the background, but my
Okay.
techno is not helping, so the heck with it. All right. All right.
I've got 2 kitty cats on my lap. We're going to do this.
Oh, that's good.
You're in bliss.
I'm in bliss, but I'll have to think about my other life, and that's all I have to do.
All right. Let's see. Nunnery scene is in Act 2. Let's
Act 3, Scene 1.
oh, Act 3, Scene 1.
Yeah.
Get thee to a nunnery, go.
It's right before the mouse.
Start with it to be or not.
I got it. I got it. I got it. All right. Last time I did this, I was 40 years old up in Massachusetts.
Angus,
that was a long
time. A moment before.
Sorry?
You can give me my moment before with the Polonius line, just before.
Oh, I don't have anything up on it. I'm sorry, I don't have any.
That's the middle of page 73. You want me to be Polonius?
I don't have the text.
Well, I'm the right age.
You'll have to do it.
All right, here we go.
You can do it.
I hear him coming. Withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die. To sleep. No more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die. To sleep. To sleep. Perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. But who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death? The undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns puzzles the will, makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. This conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with disregard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph in thy horizons, be all my sins remembered.
Good, my lord. How does your honor for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well,
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
no, I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did, and with them words of so sweet breath composed as made these things more rich, their perfume lost. Take these again, for to the noble mind, rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Huh. Huh. Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Well, could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into its likeness. This was something of a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
Yeah, well, you should not have believed me. So, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wast thou a breeder of sinners? I am myself of indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are our knaves, all. Believe none of us. Go thy way to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens!
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly. Go, to farewell.
Oh, heavenly powers, restore him.
I have heard your hauntings, too, well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to. I'll no more of it. It hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriage. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery, go.
Yay. Good. Michael? He's gone.
Well, I thought you were
nice
going to continue. I thought you were going
Nice
to
one.
continue.
Well, I could do her speech.
You want to continue?
Oh, should I? It's just so upsetting to be her. Ah! All right, I'll do it.
Go for
Oh,
it.
what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectation and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down.
Cookie.
What?
Sorry.
Enough? Oh, okay. Huh.
Need to go that's got to be resigned and sad, Virginia.
Yeah, it's.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I called Cookie because Cookie jumped off my lap during the ham
Oh dear. Yeah.
ending,
Hi,
and I wanted to get her back. Series of
Grown-up
Cookie,
Cookie's
come here,
good,
honey.
right?
Yeah.
Hi,
Come here, sweetie.
It's,
Hi, Cookie. Hi, Cookie. I like
there
that
are
name,
there are
Cookie.
textures in that
Look at these teeth.
reflect the
Wow.
internal
How
torment.
many times have I ever seen Hamlet? A lot of times now, and each time is special.
That's the first time since Julie Bavasso's class. I've done that monologue since 1989.
Wow.
Oh,
To be your
How was it? Terrible?
Oh, it's great. It was great.
no, you did a nice job.
You
But
know,
you've got to
the thing
keep
about that speech
gotta
is that
keep it-
everybody does something different. You got to find something. You got to just go where you're at.
Yeah.
Just go where you're at
You
that time
have
in
to
life. You're better off.
you have to understand what Hamlet is going through.
Oh, Jesus
He's trying
Christ.
to protect himself. He's trying to protect Ophelia. One of the primer things that so many of the actors who do it don't get, he is trying to save Ophelia because he does love her. And he's trying to hold her at arm's length. And yes, I understand, but I'm dangerous. I've got other things to do. I have to keep people at bay. And
everybody's after me.
Okay.
Everybody's after me.
I'd like to a little debate that and make it more
Angus.
complex than that. I agree with you, but now you're turning him into more of a non-human hero, like in other words, there's more going on than him trying to protect Ophelia. This guy is
I agree. I think he's doing that, but he's doing more also. Yeah.
He is totally enraged at his mother. And it's not just his father, it's not just that his uncle. He is really enraged at his mother and her denial.
The family have all betrayed him. His family
Right.
have all betrayed what he believed.
That's got
his
I mean, he says, all shall live but one.
Yeah. But you have to, Shakespeare understood the humanity of people. And
yeah, exactly.
He saw that coming through. And you cannot go too extreme with any of the characters he's creating. Mm-hmm. They have to understand, well, particularly the key characters, they have to understand the importance of the humanity that is continuing and that keeps running.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because, you know, he still is trying to save Ophelia from herself. Yeah. Because he knows he's bad news for Ophelia. Yeah. Because if she goes the road with him, she's doomed. And he thinks he can save her from that road. But in fact, he just drives her beyond.
Yeah, you know what? I never realized that, Angus. You were so right, man.
Here's Cookie.
Because most people play it. Most people play it. He feels so let down, even by her. So he's feeling vengeful even toward her, you know.
Yeah.
And that's there. But you're right. It goes even further. He's trying to protect her.
Yeah. Right. It's Shakespeare's awareness of the vulnerability of the human soul and the human intellect. And he sees beyond the immediacy of reaction into he in all his plays he's trying to tell people things, and a lot of the time he's circumscribed because he's trying to exist in a very, very controlled, structured society. He can't say a lot of the things that he clearly understands, because that would ending in the tower and being locked. So he plays the game, but at the same time it's all there. I mean, you know, Howard Bloom, a number of people say that The Tempest, I'll burn my books and all the rest of it, is the end of Shakespeare, but it's not. If you look at The Two Noble Kinsmen, that last speech, I will go forth and I must go forth and wend me of the time. He's basically saying, all right, I've tried. It hasn't worked. I got to get out of this because I can't cope with it anymore. And I just have to let them get on with it. But he's left those texts which show us who we are and how we should behave to other people. Even in The Tempest, I think one of the keys of The Tempest is, I always see it that when it was rediscovered in the late 1600s, everybody got obsessed with Prospero. And yeah, he's a charismatic character. I did a production of the Tempest.
And I think a lot of people want to see him as Shakespeare's alter ego because they're the same stage in life. Sorry to
but he just understood it. But if you look at the Tempest and actually don't cut out all the bits that everybody cuts out because they think they're irrelevant, what he's really saying is, don't treat your children like this. Don't force them into marriages. Let them find love in their own way. And he tries to show his brother that, because when his brother realizes that he's lost his son, or thinks he's lost his son, his first reaction is, oh, I was going to set him up with a marriage with this girl, and that was going to make a great political alliance. And Prospero tries to convince him that no, he's not lost a political tool. He's actually lost his firstborn son. And then as the play progresses, Prospero realizes that he was doing exactly the same thing to Miranda as his brother was doing to his son. But unfortunately, because we've got these Prospero-centric productions, they tend to cut all that stuff out and weaken the whole texture of the play. Plus, of course, the play was not written for the Globe. It was only written for Blackfriars. He was also obsessed with using the new technology of lighting to create effects.
Yeah, a lot of pageantry. Yeah.
The only, to me, out of all the Shakespeares that I've read and seen, the only things that should be cut are the last lines after Othello dies, like Sir says, blackout, dies, that's it. We don't need that little extra few lines. And some of the end of Love's Labour's Lost goes on too long. I think it should end when her father died.
I have a sort of questionable record that I may be the last of the white actors ever to play Othello.
Yeah.
In 1970s, early 80s.
Got to put on black makeup.
Well, not black, but I toned down.
I saw an Israeli guy do it in Canada at Stratford in 1973. Yeah, he was one of the last ones. Yeah,
that's about that. I did it a bit later than that, and I think I was the last. The thing in Britain, in Britain, the secondary school the high school examinations specify a Shakespeare, a comedy, and a tragedy. And the year that we were doing that, I can't remember what the comedy was, but the tragedy was Othello. So all the local companies would all do productions of Othello. So they hope to get school kids in to see the show and actually see it live, rather than sitting in a classroom and reading these pages boringly, and actually bring some life to it. And that was the goal of the exercise. So the director of the production had done a Lear, where the concept was that when the leading character goes down, the whole state implodes with him and collapses, which is typical. And he wanted to do something radically different with Othello, where when the leading character goes down, the state barely breaks wind. So you transpose sort of Victorian England. For example, when the leaders were talking about the problems in Cyprus, he set it in the general's higher military echelons club, and they're all sitting down drinking brandy and smoking cigars and saying, problems in Cyprus, send that chap Othello, he'll fix it. You know, so Othello was this emotional character who was caught in this web of Victorian rigidity.
And Shakespeare would never have put that extra little denouement on there without a reason. And exactly. The point is, these poor schmucks left behind, everybody else, just about everybody's gone, dead. They have to find a way to pick up the pieces. Have they learned anything? What are they going to do now? right?
That's right. That's right.
Although, you know, and also
was,
another thing about the recapping, which is like, oh God, do we have to hear this? Is Friar Lawrence at the end of Romeo and Juliet, right? It's like, we just saw this all enacted. Do we have to listen to you recount?
Right.
You know, it's kind of wacky.
but it's not a straight recounting.
But he's trying to cover his tracks by telling it that way.
Well, no, he's revealing
Cover his ass.
To some extent. It's not recapping or not recovering his tracks. He's trying to explain why he did what he did.
Yes. Yes.
I was reading a piece from the Shakespeare Society where they were looking at Friar Lawrence as a character. If you don't subscribe on Facebook to the Shakespeare Society website, you should, because they put out some very interesting reviews using multiple sources. And the whole point of Friar Lawrence, he's trying to reconcile the families and thinks he's doing right, but gets it wrong because he lets his emotions take over and see far enough how people are going to react. And he's caught, trapped in what he's tried to set up, and it failed. And the failure led to the death of both of Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, it's
right. So you're saying he's just
stuff.
trying to explain. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah, he's trying to say, this is what I was trying to do. What went wrong? I don't get it.
Right.
Because assumes that his morality can fix what went wrong, and he couldn't.
So can you guys please try harder in your better way now? Yeah.
What was it actually?
Oh, yeah.
Do we ever know? It's hemlock, right? That they take?
What?
Hemlock. Is that what they take?
Well, no, it's one of these sleeping potions that puts you into
what's it called? Where can you get?
I would think it would be like
hemlock.
It would be like hemlock. Yeah.
But hemlock kills.
Painful death.
Yeah, but hemlock kills. This was one of these ones that slows down the.
Yeah.
There are lots of them. We're still discovering. My background is in science, so we're still discovering all these things.
Yeah, I know. All we know is opiates.
Yeah, that's right. I was fascinated to see that there was a report of chimpanzees, one of whom had got into a fight and got severely scarred and started doing something different, went into the woods to an area that they'd never gone to before and started chewing the bark of a particular tree, and then took the stuff that they chewed and put it on the scars and damage, and they healed up very, very quickly.
Yeah. Gosh, how cool!
Because the animals know,
and these indigenous people who live amongst them know too. I told you that story, didn't I, about the guy in Brazil? They hunt and they use the poisonous from the toad.
Yeah.
Arrows. And somebody asked, well, what happens if a human gets stung with it? He said, there's an antidote for it. They said, how did you find it? And it's from a plant on the other side of the mountain, but it sings the same tune as frog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a lot. All our medicines come.
Animals discover it empirically. We discover it by watching. Most of the antibiotics and things that we use nowadays are derived from wild plants.
Aspirin comes from white willow bark. Everything.
Or we try to replicate them, but in that case, there are all these horrible side effects because they're not organic.
Burn down the source once we get the DNA.
Yeah.
See if the mother never mattered in the first place. What an insult to these spirit people who know. I mean, there are people who live in these forests.
Michael, they're not spirit people. They're just people.
Well, he's talking about native peoples of the earth, right?
I'm talking about people who
just observe and look.
Taken this for granted, not for granted that we should understand this. That it's like going into somebody and raping them and taking their religion, their life, their
language, everything. Yeah.
And the thing is, they would freely give us this information if we'd only ask. You know, once
the problem you've got to be faced with, they don't understand it as information. It's just something you do. If you get damaged by this, you go to this plant, you take it and you crush it and rub it on. If you get stung by a nettle,
Right.
all around nettles are docken leaves. And people learn that if you take the docken leaf and crush it and then rub it on the nettle sting, it takes the pain away. No idea why. It's just that it works. It's been learned over generations.
Right.
It's nothing spiritual. It's just a simple, logical X gives you Y. Turning it into a spiritual thing degrades the whole idea. It suddenly turns it into this whole concept of belief and faith is involved, which is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Complete and utter rubbish.
That gets the ego mixed in, the stupid human ego.
Yeah.
Individualistic or in a group, which is even worse.
Well,
we go through life. Everything we do in life has a purpose. If I want to cross the road, it's because I want to get to the other side. And I make a value judgment of, is it safe to cross the road at this point, or do I need to wait? But the only thing we do not have a justification for is being born, living, and dying. So people try to find some esoteric external thing that would justify this being born, living, and dying business. And they come up with all these strange gods and wills and fanciful ideas, and they're all bullshit. Yes. We're born, we live, and we die. That's what we do. That's what all organisms do. And during that life, with accumulated time, we learn from what we see around us. And that's what people have been doing. Everybody thought the Neanderthals were thugs and morons and didn't do anything. We now find that they actually buried their dead. They created early forms of art. They were fairly sophisticated beings. And they interbred with Homo sapiens. They interbred with Denisovans. And we picked up their genes. All of us have between 4 and 8% of our DNA is Neanderthal DNA. A lot of that affects the immune system. The Denisovans, away in the east of Asia, also brought in new functions and new genes, and some of those are in existence. We're a complex mixture, and we learn from what we see and interactions. And most of it is trial and error. Remember, this has been going on for thousands of years. Everybody got pissed off with genetic engineering because we were doing things. And they don't understand that scientists have never done anything novel in their lives. All we do is take natural processes and adapt them to what we need. Nature has been using these processes for millions and millions of years. The thing that I worked on, a plant pathogenic bacterium, actually made new plant species by transforming plants. And it works because there is, once the initial event has occurred, there is a selection pressure. And most of the time, because changes are deleterious, they get lost. All we do as scientists is add a slightly different selection pressure so that what we want actually survives the first decades or whatever of selection, and we keep them around so then they can do it. The big worry at the moment is, and it's a matter of really major concern, all our chemical reactions use right-handed molecules. They've now started looking at left-handed molecules and seeing how they work in biological systems. And everybody's getting really concerned about that, because if we start messing around with those and those get into populations, we have no way of controlling them. So that's a real concern. And that's doing something that nature has got rid of and has not evolved any systems that can handle left-handed molecules.
What are they?
Well, just amino acids, sugars, everything. There are right-handed forms of the molecules and left-handed forms of the molecules, and we all use right-handed forms.
And what would happen if we use left-handed forms?
if they are in toxic organisms and they get out, we've got no way to control them.
Mm.
And those are extremely worrying. So the scientific community is rising up to really impose controls on. It's fascinating to study, and from the scientific point of view, it's extremely interesting to study, but you could turn something loose that is extremely nasty. And we don't have the parallel systems to control them. Mm-hmm. With standard right-handed molecules, we've got all the systems around to control them, but not the left-handed molecules.
Something very frightening. It sounds very Andromeda strain to me. Like
it's that's why the scientific community and all sorts of very traditional mainstream scientists are standing up saying, hey, look, we've got to control this. You really have to be careful with this. The implications of this are bad news.
Oh, the implications of nuclear power are very bad news right now. We already.
Well, you know,
they're also,
sort of
but it's also good.
As a species.
What do you
Our
want?
brains got so sophisticated. We overdeveloped as a species. Some people can't deal with the word evolved. We over-evolved as a species, but we overdeveloped as a species.
We have to get rid of nuclear power.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't agree. The alternative, well, the rest of it is okay. I mean, Scotland exists mostly on hydroelectric power because
solar, earth, wind, and hydro energy.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking about energy sources this morning. And the thing is, I was thinking, okay, how long since we really started screwing up environmentally? And I realized you can't blame it completely on the Industrial Revolution, because at first we were just using like the Patterson waterfalls for at least like 20, 30 years. They were powering up the factories in the early years, and it was the internal combustion engine that really...
No, it was not listening to good spirits who knew what they were doing, like Nikola Tesla.
Well, yeah, that comes in on it. But I was just thinking about what year we really started screwing up. And it wasn't until after the American Civil War years.
Nikola Tesla was
the combustion engine that really was the peak of the bad iceberg, I think.
Nikola Tesla discovered alternating currents.
Well, it was just part of the evolution of the brain.
Already invested in direct current, so they had to steal the patent from Tesla.
Yeah.
Make a lot of money because Tesla knew that solar energy would potentially become a free form of energy.
Yeah, he was a good man, and Thomas Edison got too greedy.
It's all about
way too greedy.
They kept him comfortable in a hotel. They gave him a lot of money. And they kept him comfortable, and they stole the patent, and they wined and dined him, and then he died. He was found dead or some arsenic poisoning.
Yeah.
But no, he also predicted cell phones. You know, he said that you'll be able to communicate with a little gadget in your pocket that you can carry around.
Yeah, but no, anybody could have said that. I mean, he didn't predict cell phones. He just saw trends.
He discovered what was already there, was that the alternating currents of the sun can be transferred through direct current. The problem was they had already invested in direct current. So what they did is they were electrocuting prisoners. They turned the alternating current way up to show prisoners being smoke coming out of them and saying,
oh my goodness,
alternating current is too dangerous. You don't want this in your home. Once they turned it back down, they already knew, and they got the patent from Nikola Tesla. Then they said, fine, alternating current. They knew it was the way to go, but they had already put in all their money into direct current.
Right.
So Thomas Edison, who else was involved? J.P. Morgan.
Yeah.
And
but those sort of things happen all the time. I always remember the great story was
the more people, the more greed.
On a much more simplistic thing. Gillette, the people who make razors, always said you couldn't make razor blades out of stainless steel. And they did that because if they used mild steel, they only lasted for about 2 or 3 days. And you had to buy more. It cost a fortune. Then Wilkinson's sword, who'd been making stainless steel swords for generations in Britain, came out with a stainless steel blade which lasted for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And within a matter of months, Gillette started producing stainless steel blades. So they knew exactly how to do it, and they were deliberately sitting on it because it was going to lose them money if they went to stainless steel.
Right.
It's greed.
It's
And
not,
you're also dealing with an American society that is poorly educated, is isolated, and doesn't understand the concept of world trade and the world as a community.
Yes.
And
if you want to see great Shakespeare, you want to see how, speaking to the kings, watch the 1979, it's on YouTube, black and white and color. 1979 and 1980 of President Jimmy Carter speaking to the press about the solar panels they just put up and solar energy. He speaks for about 10 minutes about this, mentions fossil fuels several times, never once mentions, maybe 15-minute speech, never mentions nuclear power. This was 1980. Nuclear power was already planning to take over. Nixon had promoted it heavily at the ending of the Vietnam War. We had a fuel energy crisis. Nixon promoted his clean energy. Everybody said, well, we have too much pollution from coal. Nixon, see that? He wasn't so bad after all. He went to China. He opened up diplomatic relationships. They finally ended the Vietnam War. And he came back, but he didn't admit that he had sold nuclear reactors to China to settle the Vietnam War because China wanted more electricity. The reason China went into Vietnam in the first place was they said it was theirs and they wanted to build dams and for electricity.
Money.
That's what started the whole thing. But
We got off onto a tangent here about human history, Paul.
Because France was already the #1 developer of nuclear energy and France owned Vietnam. And they said
but you've also got to, but Michael, you have to understand that the problems with nuclear power derived from the United States because they had no idea how to do it. And what they did was they allowed commercial companies all to build their own nuclear reactors. Each one was totally different. If anything went wrong, all you had to rely on was the local people, some of whom were not particularly bright, to control it. The reason France was so successful in nuclear power, it structured its nuclear power so every facility that was built in France was built to exactly the same design. And if anything went wrong, they had people they could move in immediately and work on it. There's nothing inherently wrong with nuclear power as long as you handle it properly. But unfortunately, America did not.
Yeah.
Where's the fission gets stored?
Hey, Paul, we shared a lot of really great Shakespeare.
The fission.
Are we still on YouTube?
Yes, we are. We still are. So I think we should just sort of come back to Shakespeare and sort of wrap it up.
Come back to Shakespeare. Yes, indeed.
One of the things that I said I was going to do was say how many readings and like events we've done.
Oh, yeah.
Over 25 years. And I did actually total it up last night. I've got to do. We've done.
Gonna be a lot of readings.
I mean, in terms of like total Shakespeare readings of Shakespeare that we've done in person and on Zoom, that's 1,041.
Wow.
Wow.
Like total events, which includes things like workshops like this and readings of other plays. I mean, stuff we do with the Shaw Project and Moliere Rendezvous and stuff. That total is 1,219.
Since 1999.
Wait, I got to write these numbers down. This is fantastic.
Started in
I
1999.
got an email of it. I mean, this year we did 76 events. 21 of them were in-person events. 45 were Shakespeare readings, and that was just for this season. But yeah, we've done a lot.
Oh, Paul, you could be so proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yay.
so 1,041
right?
Shakespeare things in 25 years.
25 years.
1,200 and what?
19 total.
219, including all other writers.
You got to get on television about this.
Yeah, well, because I mean, it's like, because since we've done Zoom, we've actually done a lot more things and a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the last 5 years, since 2020, we've done 392 events.
Wow.
And 133 of them were Shakespeare readings.
392 since the lockdown. Did you say since Zoom or?
Yeah, basically since that.
Wow.
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Paul. When you went on Zoom, you saved my life. By that time, I was in England and feeling isolated, looking after my grandkids. And thanks to you going on Zoom and being able to do these instant Shakespeare things again, it's miraculous. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, great to have you.
But why do I do it? You know, I know people who think just doing readings is not, it's just boring, you know, but it's not. I mean, I'm an actor, and how do I keep my hand in? The only way to keep doing it is to keep doing it. And I have done things on Zoom and on live in readings in libraries before that, parts that I would never normally get to play on stage. But the joy of being able to, you know, stretch my muscles and look at characters and play characters that I would normally never get a chance to play is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
To be able
no matter where you are.
Speak the words as I spoke to you, trippingly on the tongue. That's what it's all about.
What is it?
Because the only way to do it is to hear it. Really is. Sitting down, that's why school kids hate Shakespeare. They sit down in a class and somebody reads bits to them, or they have to read it dull and dry. No, believe in the characters. Start getting into the people that he's writing about.
That's right.
Because their emotions, their beliefs they're human beliefs, and they still function today, and they're just as valid today as they were 400 odd years ago.
Yeah. And it's free. If you go on YouTube and watch Instant Shakespeare, it's free.
I got to be an example.
And anybody can join in.
And
there are good readers, and there are good readers, and there are not so good readers. Who cares? The only way to do it is to learn by doing it.
Yeah.
And listen to what you're saying.
That's one of the reasons.
I remember
Sorry.
Yeah, carry on, Paul. No. I remember I did a workshop with Cesc Dure once, and he wanted me to read a speech from Richard II, and I did it, and I got into it, and by the end of it, I had no idea what I'd said, and I had no idea how it. But by the end of it, the rest of the people there commenting on it said, "Oh, I understood that speech. I got that." Because if you trust the words, they'll carry you through.
I have to
follow the punctuation. Know what he means by a comma. Know what he means by a colon or a semicolon or a period. Know what those things mean. Give yourself the beats. There are actors who say, you have to take a break at the end of the line. I don't think that's necessarily
Not
true.
always. Especially as he progressed through his writing career, he got better at pushing it past that 10th I am.
I was looking at
Lucy Goutier as he went.
Yeah, I was looking at Judi Dench's book, which is a collection of interviews that somebody did with her about all the roles she'd played. It's Shakespeare, the man who pays the rent, and she's talking about all the roles she played. And I can't remember what she called them, but the lines that continue on to the next line and then split and somebody takes over. And she's pointing out that these are emphasis points, that you're reaching a climax and someone is hitting you at the end of that. And that gives you the emotional drive through that moment and what the context is. It's a great book. It's well worth reading.
Shakespeare Paid the Rent?
Shakespeare, the man who pays the rent.
Oh, I gotta check
that.
The
Man Who Paid Shakespeare, the man who pays the rent. It's wonderful.
Cool.
But it is only her reflection. So a lot of it's gossip. Why did you play this? Oh, well, why did you double this role? And she said, well, I think they couldn't find anybody else and they were short of money. So it's those kind of things as well. But if you dig into it and you see how she approaches Shakespeare, and you see how she handles the language, how she handles the character, and there's an extraordinarily deep understanding of what he's trying to say about people. And that's why he still exists. And that's why he's still relevant. And that's why he's still important, because we have not changed. We are still the same organisms as we were in 1600. Yeah, society's changed. We've got different pressures and all the rest of it. But basically, how we react to emotional and societal influences is exactly the same.
Yeah. I find it really fascinating about other cultures that translate as best they can to a different language, Shakespeare, because,
Yeah,
at least you get the characters and the plot, but it's like, that's not that great. I mean, it's the music, I mean, you're only going to get a
it's the
little
music and the
bit
language.
of
It's
what
the music.
it's all about.
With
I find
any
that
with any play, you have to find the music of the character and then sing it.
Yes.
It's interesting looking back at the other greats, Chekhov and Ibsen, for example. Chekhov really only works Irish, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't work well in English societal contexts, and he doesn't work well in Scottish context, but he works well in Irish context.
That's cool.
Ibsen, on the other hand, works brilliantly in Scottish context. The hard, very stiff, severe Presbyterian. We used to get Ibsen's being done in Scottish all the time. The other aspect of Scottish
because it's
theatre,
so cold. It's the latitudinal problems.
That's right. But against that, if you take someone like Fado, or if you take someone like Goldoni, those commedia dell'arte, you can translate those into a broad Scots form of theatre, and they work brilliantly. Because that exists in Scotland as well.
The black humor.
If you're trying to take a foreign playwright and convert him into something that your society will understand, so Goldoni, Fado, even Moliere worked great in broad Scots. And one thing I miss about having left Scotland is I can't do broad Scots plays anymore, because nobody will understand them anywhere where I've been. They wouldn't understand them in Britain.
I think, why don't we do one in 2025? Let's try it, Angus.
No, it's dreadful.
Let's try it.
It wouldn't work.
Something that happened at the recent Scottish production, was his name David Tennant, was taken off stage.
Yeah.
Somebody was interrupting the production.
It was somebody who'd gone to the bathroom
because
I wanted to come back to his seat,
right.
And they said, no, it's written in the program, you can't come back to. We reserve the right to keep you.
Right.
And they got pissed off, so they just said, David, come off.
Oh, that's brother.
I guess that was their Scottish curse. The reason we say that there's so many accidents actually is because the play is so dark, that people get hurt.
Yeah.
They can't see where they're going.
There are so many superstitions in theatre.
Yeah.
I remember I did a reading once. I'd seen Ivo van Hove's Hedda Gabler when he originally did it in Manhattan.
I bet that was
the New York Theatre Workshop. It was the first production. He then went over to Britain and started doing it there. And there was this little Polish actress who played the nurse, the aunt in Manhattan. And I ended up at the Jean Cocteau doing a reading of a Greek play. And she was just one of the actors who was in it. And I dropped my script and I bent down to pick it up. And she said, no, first of all, you stand on it. And I said, oh, really? And she said, yeah, you have to stand on the script before you pick it up. And I said, okay. And it's the same thing that if the reason you don't put shoes on your dressing table. You never put your shoes on your dressing table, because the evil spirits are running around at ground level. And
Bring
pick
peacock.
up your strips. You have to
And the
frighten them away.
germs of the spirits
Have
will
to
go on
stand
your
on them.
makeup. Ah!
That's right. And
Does anybody know
you
that?
don't put your you don't put your shoes on your dressing table, because that'll carry up the evil spirits and you're doomed. But I mean, the fanciful.
Turn around 3
There are-
times, spit, throw salt over your shoulder.
Yeah, but that one is, there are more stories about that one really happening that.
Yeah, it is true. Some people die in sword fights
Yeah.
on stage.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I saw a production of the Scottish play at the Edinburgh Festival when I was a kid. And the day after I went there, one of the characters actually got a sword through his ribs because he screwed up,
Jesus.
And I remember at high school, I remember doing Twelfth Night, and one idiot kept on quoting the Scottish play backstage, and we tried to shut him up, but he was an arrogant prick and wouldn't. and sure enough, that night the belt holding Sir Toby Belch's braces, pants up, broke, and he had to do the rest of the scene clutching his trousers with one hand. Minor, but
that's
I mean,
good.
some of them.
86.
Some of them are very.
That's good.
Some of these
And
superstitions.
sometimes like a
are logic.
Klieg light falls down from the wings or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I quoted
Some
from
there
it.
are simpler ones.
And that night we had put in a new actor to play the father in Brighton Beach Memoirs. And it was like doing Death of a Salesman. It was
Oh dear God!
like he had a Willie Loman.
But some of
It was hard.
but some of the superstitions are valid. I mean, the no whistling backstage or in the theatre, that comes from the 19th century when they started moving theatres indoors, and they would perform during the winter, and the only people, and everything, or set changes were all done by people pulling ropes, and the people that they got and hired to pull the ropes were seamen who couldn't go because of the boats, and that's why we have stage crew.
So they understood signals, different whistles.
And because they used to set up the rigging, and the only way they could communicate was by whistles, because you couldn't yell. And if somebody whistled backstage, one of the techs would get the wrong idea and think, "Oh, I've got to change the scene," and suddenly you've jumped 4 scenes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you don't whistle backstage. So there's logic to a lot of them, but some of them are part of the theory that in theatre you're dealing with.
Well, you remember what happened at the
emotional concept.
Do you remember what happened at the Academy Awards? You've heard this story. I've told it before. Have I told this one to you?
I don't remember. I forget it.
Will Smith, when he slapped Chris Rock on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now go with me for this for a minute. Ready? Okay. Washington is up for the part of the Scottish king. Okay. Now wait for the setup. Chris Rock comes on, makes a joke. Wait, first he's saying the nominees, and he names the play, the Scottish play, on stage. He names the play. Then a moment later, he makes a joke about Will Smith's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then Will Smith gets up on stage and smacks him, sits back down and says the following. Iambic pentameter. What is it? Get my, what is it? Oh, I can't get the quote now. It was, shut the fuck up about my, I can't remember it.
Oh my God.
It's 10 syllables about my wife. Shut the fuck up about my wife.
Did he mean to do it in iambic pentameter?
No, it just happened.
It just came out that way?
Yes. I can't get the exact line, but it was 10 syllables.
Oh,
Wait.
But English is a 10-syllable language. It is an iambic pentameter.
Right, because I always heard
anybody who has any literate.
It goes with the human heartbeat. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum.
No.
Human heartbeat.
No, that's.
Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Okay. Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Why? Okay. Then he gets up to get his Oscar. Okay. And he spit.
Yeah.
Or he he had some spit and he was crying and he was trying to make amends. I didn't even know what happened yet because I had been out of the room when it had been going on. There was something else. Oh, then Denzel quotes, it doesn't quote from the Scottish play, who's up for the Oscar, says to him, at the moment that you're at your best, that's when the devil gets you. And it comes from the guy who's up for the Academy Award. Okay. All this happened after he mentioned the Scottish name. That's what I'm saying. And he spit, started breaking the curse, and then he swore. He swore first, and then he spit. In other words, he broke the curse too late. He already hit him. Had he got up on stage and took the said, they would have beeped it, but he would have gotten applause. Had he got up on stage and said those words, take the mic from Chris without hitting him, imagine this, and said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth, they would have beeped it on ABC TV. The audience would have been like, good for you. It was the hit that killed it. He didn't break the curse time. Get it? We would have he would have been a hero. They would have been the big thing. Chris Rock, because he let out his real.
But they're not actors. They're film actors. They're not actors.
He would have let out his true emotions, and the audience would have felt that, and it would have been it would have been a whole different thing. All he had to do was.
I was reading a quote, I think, from Maggie Smith today, where she said, "It's only on stage that I ever manage to know who I really am."
But all the world's a stage.
Yeah. Oh, look who just joined us, Joey Willie.
But all the world is a stage. We're on stage.
But your point about iambic pentameter and a human thing, it's not strictly true, because in French plays, Molière, the rhythms are very different, and that's why it's very difficult to translate Molière, particularly Molière verse, into English.
It's more
because you can't take these long syllables and long rhythms in French and still make them work with what we as Anglo-Saxons do, creating iambic pentameters. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah,
so
but
that's why
when we're saying a sentence, syllables.
Alexandrian, yeah.
When we're
the Alexandrian.
It's too symmetrical. It gets sing-songy, yeah.
I understand
and
the flow of language.
It works in French.
Yeah,
it works in French, but that's why when you look at verse translations of Molière, they're always a bit tacky and a bit juvenile. You really are forced to.
I think we should probably end this. So I mean,
sorry, Paul.
You all
going on.
We're so enthused.
But
wonderful end. A wonderful end to 25 seasons. I look forward to the next year.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. I love you guys.
Take care, man.
I'm glad we finally did it.
Thanks to everybody. Lovely to see you all again. Have a great Christmas.
I've got to send Ken Wayne. Wait, Paul, do you know Ken Wayne's snail mail address? I'll send him a really nice gift and card. And we all have to send Ken our best and everything.
Did he?
Is he not well again?
Well, Ken went to the library, but nobody was really there.
No, there were people there. Caitlin was there. Actually,
good.
I got a text from Ken that actually, after Daniela left us, she got on Zoom with them and was part of one of the scenes they did.
Oh, good.
Oh, brilliant.
The first act of Hamlet there. So
yeah, they were going to do that. Good. The whole first act.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thanks again,
all's well that ends
nice
well. All's well that ends well.
Yeah. Have a great Christmas and a fabulous New Year. Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night.
Take care.
Look lovely, Virginia.
Rebels.
See you all soon. You better come to my birthday party here on January 12th, Sunday, all afternoon, lunchtime, everything, or bust. Okay.
Happy
Go on with your Tempest. Go on with your Tempest quote, Paul.
Okay. Bye. I don't want to tear him. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but bye, everybody.
Party.
Take care.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Our
Bye.
revel
Bye-bye.
ended. And these are actors, as I foretold you, are all spirits that are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherits shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. All right.
Brilliant.